Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. We've got something really fascinating and, frankly, a little profound to talk about today. The infrastructure that monitors our public spaces, our transit systems, and our critical facilities, it's changing at an absolute breakneck pace. We have officially moved away from just having passive lenses hanging on a wall and stepped into an era of highly sophisticated, intelligent networks.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The entire core of our analysis today really boils down to one massive question. What actually happens when the lens is no longer just recording what passes by, but actually starts analyzing, recognizing, and thinking about what it sees?
So, here's our roadmap. We're going to trace the evolution of surveillance, see exactly how AI transforms monitoring, and then we'll tackle the big risks and concerns. After that, we'll look at why human oversight is so crucial and wrap things up with governance and the future.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the evolution of surveillance, moving from passive to active. Because to really understand how fast these systems are evolving into deeply intelligent platforms, we kind of need to look at where we started.
And this really illustrates the contrast brilliantly. Think about the traditional model for a second. Historically, surveillance was all on human operators. You had security folks sitting there staring at a dozen screens for hours on end, just hoping to catch something unusual. And the reality of that setup? It leads to severe human fatigue, massive information overload, and inevitably, missed events. But now, contrast that with modern AI systems. We are dealing with automated alerting, sophisticated behavioral analytics, facial recognition, and real-time object detection. It is a complete operational paradigm shift.
I want to pause on this quote from our source material because it really anchors everything we're discussing today. Instead of only recording activity, systems are increasingly designed to interpret it. Think about that. The camera isn't just a memory bank anymore. It's an active participant making real-time operational decisions about what it's looking at.
Which brings us to Section 2, how AI transforms monitoring through operational support. The sheer capabilities we're seeing now are just off the charts.
These AI-assisted surveillance systems can process an almost incomprehensible amount of visual information in literally milliseconds. I mean, look at these detection capabilities. It can instantly spot an unattended bag, flag a breach in a restricted area, monitor unusual crowd flow, or detect abnormal behaviors. And it doesn't even stop at one camera. Some of these systems can track continuous movement across multiple different cameras, identifying specific vehicles or recognizing predefined threat indicators without skipping a single beat.
Now, in high-tempo settings, like major transit hubs, the benefits of this are undeniable. AI acts as this ultimate operational support tool. It detects threats so much earlier. It massively cuts down on that repetitive monitoring workload. And honestly, it fundamentally improves operational visibility. Because the AI is handling the exhausting part, just scanning and prioritizing alerts, human security professionals can focus their energy exactly where it matters most for our rapid response.
But there's a flip side. And that brings us to Section 3, the risks and concerns. We absolutely have to talk about what happens when these incredibly complex systems guess wrong.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. Technology detects patterns, but context matters. Human behavior is messy, right? It's wildly complex, it's ambiguous, and it is highly situational. And right now, AI struggles immensely to understand human context. It can see what is happening, for sure, but it rarely understands why it's happening.
And that lack of contextual understanding leads to some very real, heavily debated concerns. Over-reliance on automated monitoring brings up some serious issues. We're talking about frequent false positives. We're looking at enormous implications for privacy and mass data collection. There are very well-documented concerns regarding bias within facial recognition systems. And, of course, the overarching fear of how this expansive surveillance capability could be misused. These are critical questions about trust and civil liberties that society just has to face.
Let's zoom in on just one of those for a second, the false positive. This is when an AI incorrectly flags completely normal behavior as suspicious. Imagine you're at a super busy airport. A traveler puts their heavy bag down for maybe 3 seconds to tie their shoe. The AI, lacking any context, flags that as an unattended object and treats it like a high-level threat. Suddenly, alarms go off, security is deployed, an entire terminal might be disrupted, all because the tech saw a major threat but completely missed a rogue shoelace. That is a massive operational liability.
And that leads us directly into Section 4, human oversight and accountability. Or, as I like to think of it, the steering wheel. Because if AI is the high-powered engine driving detection forward, humans absolutely must remain the steering wheel.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how clearly the research delineates the partnership we need for this tech to work safely.
AI systems, their job is to assist with detection and rapidly process data, full stop. It is the human professionals who must provide the context, the judgment, the ethical oversight, and the ultimate operational action. The AI might flag a situation, sure, but people remain fundamentally responsible for interpreting that situation and deciding what to do next.
Which leaves us with this really critical takeaway. Surveillance technology without governance might actually create just as many risks as it solves. Organizations deploying these intelligence systems have got to draw clear boundaries. They need to document exactly where the AI is allowed to assist, where humans are absolutely required to intervene, and precisely how accountability is maintained when things inevitably go wrong.
So, who is actually setting those rules? That's what we'll cover in our final section, governance and the future. Let's look at how society is trying to manage this expanding capability.
All over the globe, major entities are scrambling to draft the strategic rulebooks for this. You've got NIST focusing on an AI risk management framework, the EU Agency for Cybersecurity is tackling privacy and surveillance governance, the ISO is looking closely at human factors, and the World Economic Forum is analyzing smart infrastructure. And you might be wondering, so what? Why does this matter? Well, because these aren't just dry bureaucratic exercises. These are the actual organizations drafting the frameworks that will ultimately balance our operational security with our civil liberties.
And they really have to work fast, because just look at the timeline we're on. Right now, we're living in a world of connected sensors, but in the very near term, we are shifting heavily into automated and predictive monitoring. And further out, we're looking at fully integrated smart environments and autonomous operational platforms. As these intelligent systems grow more predictive and more data-driven, the debates around ethics, trust, and privacy, they are only going to intensify.
I want to leave you with one final, pretty provocative thought straight from the research. The real challenge here isn't simply what technology can do. Honestly, we know what it can do. It can process and analyze the world at speeds we can barely even comprehend. The true challenge is how society chooses to use it responsibly. We are building the intelligent eye. The big question is, are we ready for it to look back at us? Thanks so much for joining this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.